Let me know if you can hear me. Do we have sound on YouTube? Any sound on YouTube? Check one, check two, check three, check four. What's up with our sound, man? Um, no sound on YouTube. Yeah, I'm sorry guys. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the issue is with the sound on the YouTube iterations. Everybody coming to TikTok. Okay, but I'm sharing my screen on YouTube, so I really want you to be able to hear. Let me know. Still no sound on YouTube? Oh, that freaking womps. Oh well, I may record this video over if I get. Oh, you got sound. Okay, cool. Chasing Andrew Jackson says they have sound. So I'm a hope that means that everybody else got sound on YouTube too. Sorry about it if you didn't. I haven't covered that much. We are at the roof covering materials. We just covered the roof structure. I'll do a quick recap at the end of the video, but we're on roof covering materials. We covered asphalt shingle, clay tiles, metal. The next common roof covering material is slate shingles. These are made of stone. Okay, that's what's up. Shout out to Monte. Okay, cool. We in business on YouTube. So if you got the study guide, be on YouTube because that's what I'm showing on the screen on YouTube. If not, you cool here. YouTube is good. All right. Beautiful. Let's rock. Slate shingles made of stone. These are again very heavy and very long lasting. It's not uncommon for slate shingles to last like 100 years. So slate shingles again are made of stone. The next roof covering material type is wood. So you can have wood as your roof covering materials. It could show up as shingles. So think again, asphalt shingles or rectangular situation, as well as shakes. Shakes are more of a square looking situation, and shingles have uniform thickness and a smooth surface, whereas the shakes are different sizes and they are not smooth. Typically, you choose one based on aesthetic. It's very expensive to have wood as a roof covering material. Okay, so those are your most common roof covering materials. Those are the ones that show up on the test. So that's again asphalt shingle. Top right box is where you should be putting these right here. Roof covering materials. Number one should be asphalt shingle. And up under asphalt shingle, you should have dimensional, or you should have 3-tab, dimensional, and laminated. You should also know again the installation method, which you can find in the book. How many nails are required? How do you attach the shingles to the decking, etc., etc. And then from there we have clay tiles. So again, all of this goes in this top right box: metal, slate shingles, and wood. So for the test, think material. So you need to know all of the different types of material, the installation method. So how do you install it? Again, what are the specific requirements for installation as far as fasteners? Fasteners meaning just nails, and then defects, anything that can go wrong. Yeah, they people on YouTube saying they got sound now. So I think everybody good now on YouTube. Okay, so everybody got that in your top right box. Let me know in the chat. We good on roof covering materials. Let me know who actually has the study guide. Let me know who has the study guide. If you don't have it, you tripping. Um, why are people okay? Do we have sound or do we not? Because I see some people saying yes, we got sound. I see some people saying no sound. Um, but are we good on roof covering materials? All of this is fair game for the exam, and they don't ask it just in a basic way like what is this type of roof covering? They're gonna ask you something like, on a gable roof in North Carolina, how many nails are you supposed to use per strip? whatever the case may be. So you're going to have to know, number one, what a gable roof is, which we'll talk about in a second. And then again, that goes back to that installation. You'll need to know what are the installation requirements. Um, yeah, so the four gray boxes, this is the study guide that we're going over. Um, I'm gonna say that's on your end, Miss Brown, because I got other people saying that they have sound. The four gray boxes is the study guide. That's what we're going through. So next we're going to go to roof styles. So that is the box on the left here. Now we're going to fill in the roof styles. There are one, two, three, four, five, six common roof styles that could show up on the exam. Number one, a gable roof. This is the most common roof. You see these every day. You just don't know what they're called. A gable roof is just like your standard roof that looks like a triangle. The rafters meet at the ridge. There's two slopes and a continuous ridge. So that's a gable roof. Again, those are very common. You see them pretty much so everywhere. Um, Thank you, Shanice. I figured it's a user issue at this point. So that's gable roof. Number two is hip roof. A hip roof has four slopes and a non-continuous ridge. Hip roof, like HIP roof has four slopes and a non-continuous ridge. We have flat roof, which is one slope, and it is not all the way flat. It is slightly sloped, but it appears to be flat. Then we have the shed roof, which is one slope roof. You see these a lot of times on like extra additions on houses, not the main house roof, but a lot of times the additions will have a um, one slope roof. Gambrel, Gambrel. This is the type of roof that you usually see on barns. So if you've ever remember picture you seeing like that old red barn, that style of roof, that is the gambrel style. And then finally the mansard, Mansard. This is a French style of roof that has four sides, and two slopes on each side. So those are your common roof styles: gable, hip, flat, shed, gambrel, mansard. Again, they don't really ask you a lot of questions about the style on the test. They may just use this terminology. So you need to know, again, what it means and what it refers to. If I say a hip roof, you should be able to picture it in your mind, because they may be asking you something about, hip rafters on the hip roof. So you would have to know in that case. Okay, so that goes in the top box there on the left if you're filling in your study guide. And again, this guide goes with the book, right? So all of these areas that we're talking about, you would need to read about them in the book so that you can fill in all of the extra information. Okay, so let me know in the chat if we have any questions on the roof structure, on the roof styles, and the roof covering material. Lights flowing through the whole time. Make sure if you're on YouTube that you like this video and you subscribe, so that YouTube will know that this is good content and they will show it to people and you won't miss any of these other free trainings, because I have more free trainings on this stuff than anybody in the world on NHIE test prep. I have passed the NHIE twice and I've helped better than 20 people to pass the test. So that's why I'm qualified to do this, in case any of you were wondering. All right, so we good on roof structure, roof style, roof covering material. The next thing we need to talk about is down in the bottom left is the roof drainage system. The roof drainage system. The roof drainage system is very simple. Consists of two components. Everybody should know this. Everybody should know the two components of the roof drainage system. Number one, the gutters. The gutters are the horizontal basin, if you will, or trough that's at the edge of the roof, and that catches the water that falls off the roof. See, the whole house, the house is constructed. The purpose of the construction of the design of a house is always to repel water. Water causes the most damage out of anything in a home. So your everything about the house is designed to repel water and keep it away from the foundation. So that's why when you see roofs, they are what we call, they have pitch, right? Or they are sloped so that when the rainwater hits it, it will easily flow down, just it flow down, and then the gutters will catch it, and connected to the gutters are the vertical members of the drainage system, which are the downspouts. And your downspouts must discharge at least 5 feet away from the foundation. That is 1000% a test question. So make sure that you have that written down in your study guide. 1000% a test question. The water must discharge at least 5 feet away from the foundation. So that's talking about, again, at the edge of your house, you would have the gutter. The downspout would be attached to that. Some downspouts are connected underground to the drain. So if that's the case, then that's fine. But if they discharge on the top of the surface, then there's typically going to need to be what we call a splash block, which is basically just kind of like a little ramp at the end of the downspout so that the water will flow away from the foundation. One of the main causes of foundation and structural issues is either no gutters, improperly attached, damaged gutters, and over time, water has had an opportunity to pool around the foundation of the house and ends up causing some type of issue. So this is a big one. You need to make sure that for your actual inspections that you're ready to call this out. So gutters and downspouts are the two main members of our roof drainage system. And again, their job is to divert water away from the roof, the exterior, and the foundation. So write that in your somewhere around here on this box, that the roof drainage system job is to divert water away from the roof, the exterior, and the foundation. You'll read in the book that on flat roofs, you have the drainage. You won't always see the traditional gutters. You will a lot of times see what's called a scooper, which is basically just like a little hole that allows for drainage at the top of the roof. Because again, the flat roofs are obviously flat. So that's the drainage for most flat roof systems. Okay, so that's roof drainage. Any questions there? You're welcome, Lex. My pleasure. Any questions? Roof structure. So I must be doing a good job because y'all don't have no questions. Roof structure, roof covering, roof style, roof drainage. The last one here on the study guide, the box in the bottom right, roof penetrations. A roof penetration is anything that protrudes through the roof. So, for example, your chimney, right? That would be a roof penetration or a protrusion. There are also plumbing vents and appliance vents that protrude through the roof. And so, anything that is a roof penetration is going to require what we call flashing. Remember, I said that the house is extremely vulnerable to water. If anything will mess up your house, it will be water. And it doesn't have to be like a crazy flood or leak. It could be moisture, steam over time that, breaks down the structural materials, because houses are made of all, most houses are going to be stick built. So they're all made of wood. We don't want our wood to get wet. So the flashing with the roof penetration is basically a material that we use to keep or to direct water away from the vulnerable areas in the roof. The vulnerable areas being those areas where there are penetrations. So wherever you have your chimney, your plumbing vent flashings, if you have skylights, those lights. Remember that light that Hey Arnold had in his, I might be showing my age with Hey Arnold. But anyways, skylights. These are all roof penetrations and they require roof flashing. Okay. So in your roof penetrations box, you can write types of penetrations, plumbing vents, as well as appliance vents and skylights. So those are three different types. We'll talk. Well, not we'll talk, but if you enroll in inspector flow, we'll talk more about plumbing vents in the plumbing class, and so what they do and the purpose and all that. For now, for the purposes of the roof, just know that anything that's protruding through your roof needs to be properly flashed, or you run the risk of having a leak, which won't be an issue today or tomorrow, but long term, it will definitely cause you issues. Okay. Questions. Next thing we're going to do is go over some of these vocab words. Again, if you have the textbooks, these are listed in the book. They're just some of the important terms that you need to make sure that you are mindful of. Okay, so we talked about a couple of these as being um, structural layers of the roof. So we have rafters. I gave you the definition for that. I gave you the definition for sheathing, underlayment, and flashing. So you should already have those definitions. Write them down in there. What I would recommend doing is writing something that would make you that would remind you of it, right? So for underlayment, basically that's a water resistant barrier. So we're trying to keep the wood dry. So that's something that I would write under underlayment to remind me what it is and what it's for. And remember, I told you that the most common material for underlayment is felt. Okay, so felt underlayment. All of those notes should go under your term underlayment. The reason why these terms are so important is because, again, on this test, this ain't this ain't a test like you ever experienced in your life. This is not one of those where the questions are easy and straightforward. The questions are very they're asked poorly. If you ask me, the way that they're worded is super confusing, and they ask them in a way where, again, they will assume that you already know what all of these terms are and what they mean, how they function, where you can find them at in the house. All of that is assumed, right? So you need to be up on the terms. And um what I do for my students is we do like a lot of diagrams, right? So I show them, after we talk about these terms, then now we've got to be able to identify them on the house, because even beyond your test, remember, there's an actual practical inspection. So when you go out to do your roof inspection, whether you're going to be walking the roof, whether you're going to be using a drone, you will need to know the eaves, the ridge, the rafters. You will need to be able to know where all of those different components are, what they're supposed to look like, what's the proper installation, what's the right material. You'll need to know all of that, because that's what you will be observing and reporting on when you actually show up to do your inspection. Okay, any questions? Here is a picture. If you have questions, drop them in the chat. Here's a picture. The top picture is the gable about. So you see here is one slope. This right here is a slope. On the other side, there is another slope. This point is the ridge. You see how this ridge is continuous from one end of the house down to the other? That's a gable roof. The difference being on this hip roof is, you see here is the ridge, and it is not continuous. It does not run from one end of the structure down to the other, because there are four slopes. Here's one, here's two, here's three, and then the fourth is on the other side. So this is the difference. Let me know in the chat if you've seen a gable roof before, right? You've seen it a million times. You just don't know you have. Do you recommend the test for someone living in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania? Yes, I do, Kamal, because I think that, number one, eventually everybody's going to have to take the test, because it's too easy to become a home inspector right now. Most people sign up for, a BS certification class, and then, they don't really know anything. So I think that at some point, um, it will be a requirement. That's number one. Number two, I think that it is a way to ensure that you know your stuff. Again, most inspectors in Philly haven't taken and passed this test. So it's a good way to make sure that you know what you're doing, so that you can actually hit the ground running and make some money. And then number three, all certifications, licenses, anything that you can get it's a credential, right? And it separates you from everybody else. Any professional licenses, certifications, I always talk about learn stuff, take tests, get credentials. You can never go wrong with that. You never know. You may need to get a job and you can use the fact that you took and passed this test, on that job. So I would highly recommend for you to do so. Anybody that's in a non-regulated state, the most important thing that you are going to do is choose the right education. That's the most important thing, that will make and break your experience. It don't matter about a quote unquote certification and all this and all of that. If you don't choose the right education and you don't learn the 10 majors, so we just covered a portion of one of the systems, which is roofing. So if you don't have a solid, I mean, a deep dive on all of the 10 major systems, how to write the report, how to pass the test, and how to run it. If the education is not going to do those things for you, you're going to be in a bad spot starting out. Those are just the facts. And I only know that because that's the reason why I started Inspector Flows, because that's what people were going through. And the majority of my students tried to go other places first, didn't get the help that they needed. And, they had to come see that big cuz. Because this is, again, this is only, I'm going through this study guide with you, but this is only a portion. This is only a piece of how we break it down in Inspector Flow. In Inspector Flow, I have, a presentation with everything. We got pictures from my real live inspections and my, properties that I flipped and different things like that, so that you really know. My whole thing is I don't care about a certification if I can't make no money. I don't give a I do not want, give me the money. So I want to know what I'm doing, and the home inspection itself is the service that you provide. The report is the product. So I want to know what I'm doing so I can provide a great service, and then I want to know how I can put together a good product, my report. That's like I would that's where I would be with it. Would the exam in Ohio be different from Tennessee, or can I do homes in Tennessee with Ohio license? So the exam is the same. So in Ohio and in Tennessee, you have to take and pass the NHIE. There is typically no reciprocity. So when you do it in Ohio, that doesn't necessarily mean that, okay, you're now licensed in Tennessee. What a lot of states will do is that if you can show that you've taken and passed the NHIE, within a certain amount of time, a lot of times they won't require you to do it. But on the flip side, I have seen states require you to take it. Again, I would call and ask, but the test, whether you was going Ohio or Tennessee, you need to take and pass the test anyway. So it's really a mute point right now, Monte. You might as well just start studying, because it won't be whether you take it in Tennessee or whether you take it in Ohio. It's going to be the same test. After all of this schooling with Inspector Flow, will I be able to get my 100 webinar? What state are you in, Perez? If you ask a question, let me know what state you're in, because again, each state is different. New York. Okay, so your question was, after this one, will I be able to get my I don't know what you mean by webinar hours. But yeah, I do got a partner out in New York who does the field inspections. So yeah. Any other questions specifically on the roof or on the study guide? For those of you who didn't get the guide when it was $17, shame on you. It's still only 25 now, but shame on you. When I dropped it at 17, you should have jumped all over it. This is exactly what you need. This is a starter to helping you prepare to pass this test. Okay. So if you have the guide, again, if you have the guide and you're enrolling in Inspector Flow, do what you can in terms of, just kind of lightly preparing yourself. But once you enroll, I'll get you the textbooks, and then you can start going through the textbooks, filling this out. And then we have some other trainings that you can take part in until we start class officially in February. Okay. So any other questions on the roof? The roof, the roof, the roof. Thank you for sharing, Lex. I appreciate that. Make sure on YouTube that you like and subscribe. Make sure on TikTok that you like and subscribe. Make sure you share this, tell a friend and tell a friend. Nobody, you would think that NHIE would offer something like this if they actually cared about people passing the test, but we could tell them I said it too. So, uh, class officially February 25th, 24. Enrollment opens to the general public on October 15th, and as I said, there are some trainings and different things that you'll be taking part in between now and February when we start class to get you ready to start. I'll show you one more thing before we bounce. Here is your coursework for Inspector Flow. So we got 5 main subjects. Remember, I was just talking about your system. So the foundations of home inspections has approximately 12 classes, and that's where we cover in depth those 10 major systems. So roof, exterior, foundation, plumbing, heating, cooling, interior, electrical, insulation and ventilation, and fireplace and chimney. We cover all of that in there. And the home inspection report writing, there are 3 classes in there where I cover how to write the report writing software, creating a template. Once you leave, you'll actually have a template that you can use on your paid inspection, so you don't have to worry about that. We also have several NHIE test prep. I get into some specific strategies that you can actually, that I've used, that I've helped other people to use. We go through practice questions. We simulate the testing environment because the test is 200 questions piece. The test is 200 questions, and you have 4 hours to complete it. So we simulate that testing environment, and then in the home inspector business mastery, this is one. These last two are super important because again, it does no good to learn all of this if you're not able to make any money. So in the business mastery, we got classes on business setup, so how to set up your own business if that's what you're going to do, your LLC, choosing a name, your logo, your website, all of that kind of stuff. We go over business operations, so that's what insurance do you need, filing your taxes, bookkeeping, keeping track of all your money coming in and going out. This is one of the few jobs where your very first day at work, you will literally get paid. You know what I mean? That first inspection that you get booked for, they're going to be paying you about $500 before you show up. So you need to be on top of your bookkeeping, what's coming in, what's going out in terms of expenses. We cover all of that. And then finally, marketing. I go into, creating a marketing plan, strategy, social media marketing. If you know me, if you're familiar with me, I've been online for close to a decade now. I've got several thousand followers across all platforms. So I know a little something about social media marketing, and I pass that on to my students because, again, I want you to be well educated and well trained. I want you to know what the hell you're talking about. And then I want you to be able to book to average at least 10 inspections a month. That's my goal, which is very doable. If you do 10 inspections a month, you'll be making somewhere between $4,000 and $5,000 a month. So pay me my tuition. What's up, cuz? I'm glad you're here. Yes, we do. We got a lot of people in Chicago. We heavy in Chicago, heavy in Maryland, heavy in Georgia, heavy in Maryland. Shout out to Dre Ramsey in Chicago. Dre is a former NFL football player turned home inspector. We got Jax out in Chicago. We got JD, female home inspector. We got Guillermo, who just got licensed in Chicago. I hope I'm not missing anybody. But yeah, we've got we've got a ton of people in Chicago. How long have you been doing this? I've been inspecting formally for about 5 years, but I've been investing in real estate for over 10. And so I've probably done thousands of inspections before I even started actually really counting. I was buying houses, rehabbing them, etc., etc., for 10 years here in Cleveland before I ever got into this inspecting thing. So, any other questions about anything inspector related while I'm here? Now is the time, folks, if you want to be ready for the spring busy season. It's slow season right now, obviously, because it's winter. Well, coming into winter. So now is the perfect time to engulf yourself into your education so that come, April, May, springtime, you'll be ready to get out there and make some of that money. Realistically, if you really focus and lock in within this structured environment, 6 to 8 months you can learn. You'll have for sure these three down: the foundations, how to write the report, and be prepared to pass the test. In our last class, IF4, we had two students who passed within 2 weeks of finishing inspector flow. So I asked the question wrong. Sorry, just trying to make sure I understand. Okay, ask it again if I didn't answer. I do use drones to inspect the roofs. I do not walk roofs. I use drones. That is another class that we have in inspector flow, is how to get FAA certified to fly a drone, because technically, in order to fly a drone commercially or for money, you you need to be certified through the FAA. If not, it's a federal offense. Answer this question, but what should be an expected cost of the rely? So you're gonna have to have liability, general liability, as well as E&O, errors and omissions, and probably anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500 annually for your and that depends. When you pay for the year, you get discounts and different things like that, but that's a ballpark figure. Also, when you do ancillary services, meaning other things, sewer scoping, radon, all of these other things, sometimes you have to carry additional insurance. So yeah, but plan for between $1,000 and $1,500 annually for your insurance. No, you do not fly the drone in the crawl space. There are some people use crawl bots, like a little kind of like a remote control car, to go under crawl spaces, but no, you would probably lose your drone. It would be um no, you don't want to fly the drone under there. Okay, yeah, so we don't have anything to do with the state. I don't have anything to do with that, because what usually happens is, again, people go to those places and they don't learn. So I don't have anything to do with the state. I actually I don't you know I ain't gonna speak on that, but no, I don't have anything to do with the state. My main focus is actually teaching people how to do this, not having people sit in front of me, clicking through some shit just to get a certification. I don't like. I'm not interested in that. So that's why Inspector Flow is set up the way it is, where you actually have to show up. You got to be on camera. You got to participate, because that's how you really truly learn. And so that's my main focus. Am I able to be successful working with you in your courses? Yeah, we got tons of. Listen, we accept people from every state. We have 60 plus graduates from over 18 states in our first 2 years. Lots of them. We got several students in Georgia. So no matter what state you're in, it goes like this. You'll be in class with me just like this for 16 weeks. You'll have homework every Sunday, 7 o'clock p.m. We'll be in class. I'll give a lecture on one system with the presentation. We'll talk back and forth. The class is very interactive. Assign you homework. Homework is due on Wednesday. And then on Fridays, we have study sessions where you come, review the homework, ask any questions that you have, make sure that you understand that system for the week. So everything is virtual. All our every quizzes, exams, everything is online. At the completion, you have the opportunity to come to Cleveland, and we have field training, so you can do mock inspections. I'll take everybody inside real houses and basically practice what you've learned over the last 16 weeks. We do a business setup lab, so that's again kind of deep diving into a lot of this stuff that's in the business mastery, and also marketing, your website, booking, to make sure that, again, you're ready to hit the ground running once you leave me. And then we finish off with a nice little graduation celebration, if you will. So that's what it'll look like if you're a student, no matter what state you're from. And I'm teaching IF5 now. We're almost halfway through IF5. We got Illinois. We got a 20, I think. What is Madre? 20 or 21? 20 or 21-year old from Chicago. We've got Oregon. We've got Cali. We've got Ohio. So yeah. Any other questions? I am gonna get state certified sometime coming here in the near future, because what happens is see, y'all are hear all of this stuff from me, come to all my free trainings, and then give those other schools your money, then they won't teach you nothing, and then you'll still be back at square one. So if you can't beat them, join them, you know. The tuition for Inspector Flow is 2,500 paid in full. It includes all of your classes, so 16 weeks of your Sunday classes, all the homework, all the presentations, all of that, as well as the 16 study sessions. It includes your digital textbooks, so the textbooks that I was just talking about for the NHIE. I provide those as well. So all of that is included. There's a payment plan option, 6 payments of $500 if you don't want to do the paid in full option. See, but it's basically like I should be tuition should be 10 grand, because you can make, again, the majority of the people who, and I'm gonna start doing lives with them so they can tell y'all themselves, but the people who followed the flow to the T, within their first 90 days, they had made their tuition money back for sure within the first 90 days. Again, if you do 10 you got 30 days to get 10 inspections. You don't think you can do that? Everybody got to have them. So it don't matter how slow the market is. If you go from in your area from there being 500 or 5,000 houses for sale, maybe there's now 3,500 houses for sale. Before people are able to buy houses, they're required to have the inspection. So in your area, out of 30 days, let me know in the chat if you feel confident that once you are educated, well trained, and with the proper guidance on setting up your business and marketing, do you think that you could get 10 inspections a month out of 30 days? If you do think that you can get 10 inspections a month, I know you can, because I see new people do it all the time. And again, the average cost for a home inspection is $450. So you're going to be making somewhere between $400 and $500. You may charge 400 because you're new and you'll be nervous, and that's cool. Even at 400, at the end of your very first month, if you hit 10, that'd be $4,000. Each inspection is going to take you about 2.5 hours. Hell, call it 3, 4 hours, since you'll be new for your inspection, your report, etc., etc. And you would have gotten paid your $400 or $500 before you ever showed up. So I don't gotta, like, if you know, the money is there. The return on the investment, you know, that ain't even something that we really need to talk about. What we got to focus on is making sure that we get the proper education and training. Because once you do that, I mean, half the battle is just knowing what you're talking about and just showing up. Again, because people got to have you. Realtors will just start calling you. Can you do a home inspection for me? So, um, no, we don't. There's no finance. The financial aid is the payment plan. We do have scholarships available. Shout out to my girl True Home Inspections, out in Portland, Oregon. So we do have some scholarships, but again, we got payment plans. So that's my version of financial aid. This is not something. Um, it was $300 for the average and 20. Shit, there ain't never been no 300, I say, especially not in 2021. I can assure you that $300 wasn't the average. See, what happens is in non-regulated states, like especially like Michigan, Pennsylvania, and those areas, because it's just I don't know. It's not regulated, so people can do whatever. They charge them cheap prices, 300, 350. But again, these are people who don't know what they're doing. They be out there for an hour, hour and a half max, basically just taking pictures, because they have no clue of what they're doing, because they weren't required to go through any sort of real schooling. Didn't have to pass any type of test. All this type of stuff that we doing, that we literally stay up for studying and slaving. They didn't have to do none of that. So of course they're gonna be charging the LO. But if it were me, people, somebody, just think about it. Somebody buying a house that's 200,000, your $500 inspection is likely going to save them a couple thousand, because what something that you find in your report, their realtor going to take back to the seller and say, hey, listen, the inspector found that there was chip paint on all of the windows. We need a $2,000 credit. You know what I mean? So they may get $2,000 off their purchase price because of your $500 inspection. So no, you don't want to be in a race to the bottom. You don't want to be the cheapest of anything. if the perception is that cheap is not good, you know. um if that's the case, designer and luxury wouldn't be, what it is. Because I mean, you know, I got a Louis Vuitton wallet, but shit, this Louis Vuitton wallet ain't no better than the Gap wallet or whatever I had before I got this one. But you know, it costs more, so some kind of way is better. So you never want to be in a race to the bottom in terms of prices. Everybody's not going to be your idea. Me personally, if a person is paying 200,000 for a house and they don't want to pay 500 for an inspection, I ain't looking to work with them people because I don't have patience for. That's just idiotic. That don't make any sense. You know what I mean? So either sense. So it's a balance, and that's the beautiful thing about this. As your own boss, you get to decide when you want to work, who you want to work for. The whole nine. Mondays are my day off, so I will never schedule an inspection on Monday unless they paying me extra. If you call me on Saturday, the earliest I can show up is Tuesday. So that's the beauty. That's the beauty of this. Let's get some lights going. Any other questions? Am I gonna see any of you all in IF6? Anybody planning on getting in? Well, I see. Do I have any of my IF6 students in the house tonight? We're gonna be locked in. See, my birthday is at the beginning of February, so I have to start class at the end of February. But we're gonna be locked in. We're gonna get out just in time for y'all to start making some money in your respective states. When you get that first inspection, you get that first hot little $400 or $500, you'll look back on this day in October 11th, and remember when you was on here studying for your exam. Any other questions? No mas? All right. It's been real. Thank y'all for tapping in. I apologize, YouTube, for the sound issues that we were having. I'm going to try to leave the replay up as much as I can if it will have the sound. So